Bugatti banned Matt Armstrong from buying parts for his crashed Chiron. Most people think it's about protecting the brand, exclusivity, prestige, the usual luxury car gatekeeping. But here's what they're not telling you. This isn't about one rebuilder or one car. Bugatti just revealed they're more afraid of transparency than they are of a totaled hypercar ending up on the road. And if Matt finishes this build, the entire hypercar business model collapses. Here's the plan. I'm going to show you why Bugatti cutting off parts access wasn't about quality control. It was about survival. Then I'll prove why this rebuild is the most dangerous thing that's ever happened to the factory hypercar world. And by the end, you'll understand why this Chiron is worth more broken than it ever was whole. If you care about what happens when billion-dollar brands try to silence independent builders, you need to see where this goes. Alright, let's dive in. Let's start with the part nobody's saying out loud. Bugatti doesn't restrict parts because their cars are fragile. They restrict them because scarcity is the product. Think about it. A Chiron costs $3 million new, but the actual materials? The carbon, the metal, the assembly? That's not $3 million. What you're paying for is the story. The illusion that only 500 of these will ever exist. That only you can own one. Now imagine Matt Armstrong finishing this rebuild, publicly, on camera, showing every part, every supplier, every workaround. Suddenly, the curtain gets pulled back. Suddenly, people realize, wait, this can be done outside the factory. The moment that happens, the exclusivity dies. And exclusivity is the only reason these cars hold value. Bugatti didn't ban Matt to protect their engineering. They did it to protect the illusion. But here's the thing. This is the one Bugatti can't afford to let happen. Matt's Chiron rebuild isn't just a YouTube series. It's a blueprint. Every single time he sources a part, every time he finds a third-party supplier, every time he proves something can be reverse-engineered or fabricated, he's showing other builders, engineers, and tuners that the factory isn't the only option. Right now, hypercar ownership is a closed loop. You buy the car, you service it at the factory, you sell it back into the same ecosystem. The manufacturer controls every step. But if Matt finishes this build without Bugatti's help, he breaks that loop. He proves you don't need factory blessing to own, repair, or rebuild a hypercar. And once that's proven, the floodgates open. Suddenly, independent shops can rebuild write-offs. Tuners can modify without blacklisting. Enthusiasts can bypass the brand entirely. Bugatti sees this. That's why they moved so fast. Because this isn't about one car, it's about losing control of the entire aftermarket. And if that happens, the hypercar industry as we know it is done. Which brings us to the next part. Let's be clear. Bugatti didn't ban Matt Armstrong because he's a liability. They banned him because he's a threat to the system. Think about what Matt represents. He's not a billionaire collector. He's not playing by their rules. He bought a crashed Chiron, something Bugatti would rather see crushed, and decided to bring it back to life on the internet for millions of people to watch. That's the nightmare scenario for them. Because every time Matt posts an update, he's showing the world that Bugatti's irreplaceable craftsmanship isn't so irreplaceable. That their priceless engineering can be decoded. That the mystique is just marketing. And here's the kicker. Matt's audience isn't other billionaires. It's everyone. Mechanics, engineers, students. People who would never be allowed into Bugatti's world are now watching someone dismantle it piece by piece. Bugatti can't control that narrative, so they tried to kill it at the source. But it's too late. The conversation's already started, and it gets worse for them. Here's the twist nobody saw coming. This crashed Chiron is now worth more as a rebuild project than it ever would have been as a finished car. Why? Because of what it represents. A restored Chiron from the factory? That's just another Chiron. Rare, sure. Expensive, definitely. But ultimately forgettable. A Chiron rebuilt independently against Bugatti's wishes, documented start to finish with every challenge exposed. That's automotive history. That car becomes a symbol, the one that proved the system could be beaten, the one that showed you don't need the factory's permission to own a piece of hypercar royalty. Collectors will pay more for that story than they ever would for factory perfection. And Bugatti knows it. That's why they're so desperate to stop it. Because if this car gets finished, it doesn't just undermine their brand, it creates a new class of hypercar, one they don't control. But here's what Bugatti really doesn't want you to see. Matt didn't set out to tear down the hypercar world. He just wanted to rebuild a Chiron. But in doing so, he accidentally revealed something Bugatti and every other hypercar brand has been hiding for decades. They're not selling engineering, they're selling permission. Permission to own, permission to repair, permission to participate. And the moment you step out of line, that permission gets revoked. Think about it. Bugatti can remotely decide your car isn't worthy of parts. Ferrari can blacklist you for painting your car the wrong color. Pagani can refuse service if you modify anything. This isn't craftsmanship, it's control. And Matt's rebuild is the first time someone's publicly challenged that control and won the internet in the process. Millions of people are now watching Bugatti squirm, watching them prove they care more about brand image than customer freedom, watching them show their true colors. Matt didn't just expose one brand, he exposed the entire luxury hypercar model. And here's the final piece. Let's end on this. Bugatti loves to talk about craftsmanship, hand-built, bespoke, one of a kind. But here's the truth. Bugatti hypercars aren't handmade, they're curated. The engineering? Borrowed from VW Group. The carbon? Outsourced. The electronics? Third-party suppliers. Even the bolts and fasteners come from the same catalogs every other manufacturer uses. What Bugatti actually does is assemble and restrict. They control the narrative. They control the access. They control who gets to participate. That's not craftsmanship. That's curation. And Matt's rebuild is proving that once you strip away the curation, the car itself isn't untouchable. It's rebuildable, serviceable, fixable. Bugatti's entire value proposition is based on the idea that only they can do this. But if Matt finishes this car, that idea dies. So here's where we're at. Bugatti banned Matt Armstrong. But in doing so, they proved they're not afraid of him. They're afraid of what he represents. Because this rebuild isn't just about one Chiron. It's about whether the hypercar industry can survive transparency, whether they can keep gatekeeping once the gates are wide open, whether the next generation of builders will ask for permission, or just take the tools and figure it out themselves. Matt didn't just buy a crashed Bugatti. He bought a war the factories didn't know they were about to lose. And we're all watching. Every bolt he turns, every supplier he finds, every update he posts. Because this isn't entertainment anymore. This is documentation. This is proof that the system can be challenged, that the walls can come down, that you don't need $100 million net worth to participate in the hypercar world. You just need the skill, the determination, and the willingness to ignore the gatekeepers. And if Matt gets that Chiron running, if he proves it can be done without Bugatti's blessing, then every crashed hypercar becomes a possibility, every write-off becomes a project, every factory ban becomes irrelevant. The question isn't whether Matt will finish the car. The question is whether Bugatti can survive what happens when he does. Because the moment that engine starts, the moment that car rolls under its own power, everything changes. The mystique shatters, the control evaporates. And suddenly, owning a hypercar isn't about being chosen by the brand. It's about choosing it for yourself. That's the future Matt's building. Not just a Chiron, but a world where the factory doesn't get the final say.